Hello everyone and welcome. In this video we're going to talk about one of the most important transits of 2023, Pluto's ingress in Aquarius. So Pluto is going to stay in Aquarius for roughly 20 years, so it's definitely going to be a game changer and definitely a major shift energetically wise. So let's jump right into it to see what's next for these next 20 years, really. So we're going to talk about Pluto and Aquarius to combine their significations together. Now, first of all, what's Pluto? Pluto is one of the generational planets, and specifically, Pluto is the bearer of the darkest instincts of humanity, since Pluto represents on a collective level the human will. So among the generational planets, it's definitely the most challenging planet, and so we need to be very honest about it. So this transit is not going to be easy. Pluto never is. However, we are going to highlight the possibilities, the opportunities that come with this very important transit. Now, what's Aquarius? Aquarius is the zodiac sign of freedom, equality, fraternity. So these keywords are part of the motto of the French Revolution. And interestingly enough, Pluto was in Aquarius in 1789 during the outbreak of the French Revolution. So in this picture, we have a representation of the storming of the Bastille. In this regard, we can expect the human will, our intentions on a collective level, to embrace this revolution, to fight for freedom, equality, justice, and a form of fraternity, if you will. However, we need to be completely honest. With revolution also comes destruction, and one of the major Pluto's significations, which is death, specifically death caused by revolutions. So we are going to witness to a major shift in this sense, where these topics of freedom, equality, justice for all is going to rise and also create a wave of destruction if it's not channeled in a positive way, right? And what's the leading cause of this awakening in the masses, really? Now, to answer to this question, we need to understand what Pluto is. And Pluto is also the planet of occult powers. Occult powers that are pulling the strings of humanity, really. Conversely, on the other hand, Aquarius is the zodiac sign of transparency. In fact, it is represented by a pure white light. So when the planet of occult powers enters the zodiac sign of transparency, we can expect these occult powers to be revealed, right? So the leading cause of these revolutions are going to be this increasing and unveiling of these mass control strategies with Pluto in Capricorn we witness, really, right? So on the positive, we can also understand that this revolution can give us new ways, really, of conceiving society, community life, being part of humanity. So the way we conceive being part of humanity. And this is positive, especially for new political impulses that may rise. For example, I am now talking to anthroposophers, specifically the threefolding of the social organism. This is definitely a very important opportunity to make steps in this direction. Now, Pluto also represents nuclear energy. In fact, Pluto was discovered together when humanity started understanding this new type of energy. And in this regard, we saw technology improving. In fact, on screen here, you can see a prototype of a nuclear fusion reactor, which is very futuristic. And in this sense, we are going to witness this development in science and technology towards the production of energy with nuclear fusion, with the power of Pluto, if you will. And this impulse started with the Jupiter-Saturn great conjunction, which happened in Aquarius in 2020, and we're going to talk about that later on in this video. Now, it's interesting noticing how here the significations combine, right? Because we have the electricity, this energy of lightning represented by the Aquarius, and we also have Aquarius represented as this starry sky. Basically, we have the world of the stars. So you can picture this process as having electricity being produced by like little suns, so to speak, little stars ignited on the earth, right? So definitely a beautiful picture that combines nuclear fusion, nuclear energy with the imagery of Aquarius. Now, as I mentioned, Pluto can be a very, very challenging planet. And with this advancement in technological research and science, we definitely can expect this transit to make us confront all the shadows and all the horrors that science and technology may produce. Now, we are seeing now the rising of AI, artificial intelligence, right? But this is also going to concern genetic engineering and, in general, the topic of transhumanism. So how technology is going to affect us as a species as well. And this shadow aspect can be quite scary. And humanity produced some images in the past that they were trying to translate in fiction these fears that humanity had back when Pluto was in Aquarius last time. And interestingly enough, we are talking here about the modern version of Frankenstein monster, because in this picture with this monster, right? Mary Shelley created a monster that was the representation of these fears that we're talking about. This is her chart. As you can see, it's very interesting to see how she had Pluto in Aquarius on the midheaven, the 10th house, which is about our career, our job. So in her work, she translated these fears in these monsters. And again, let's take a look at the symbology here, because the monster was created by sewing together parts of corpses, which is a very Plutonian picture, right? Death, again. And the monster was animated through lightning, which is the power of Aquarius, again, right? So we don't have Frankenstein's monster today. Today we have AI and other horrors, that robots and weird stuff, right, that can scare us. And so we need to process these dark pictures, these dark images, in order to become more aware of the dangers of these technologies as well. But of course, this is going to take us also in a space where we can benefit from this research, especially a big step forward in medicine, medical research as a positive aspect of this transit. So we, again, don't need necessarily to focus only on the bad side of the transit, right? And talking about the stars, this image, right, of Aquarius. Aquarius is the symbol of humanity that is reaching out for the stars. Well, this is beginning to get quite literal here, because this big leap forward also concerns the aerospace industry. We have SpaceX with Elon Musk working in this direction. But definitely this is just the external expression of this archetype, right? So we can learn how to stay together and become a better humanity. And definitely Aquarius is all about this new way of feeling that we are all part of the same humanity. Now, Pluto also represents alchemical processes of extreme purification. So on one side of the spectrum, we have extreme damnation with Pluto, but on the other, we have extreme purification. And being Aquarius an air sign, we're going to see a positive change about this topic of air pollution, specifically air pollution, because Aquarius is an air sign. And given the tendency to go towards electric cars, we can expect Pluto to bring a purification in this sense, which is, again, good. And of course, if this doesn't happen, we can witness to more death caused by air pollution or by diseases affecting the respiratory system. So again, this has to do with air and death. Death can be a process of purification, death and rebirth, so becoming something better, but it can also be death. This is the chart of Pluto's ingress in Aquarius. It is domiciled for Central Europe time, so please ignore the houses if you are living somewhere else. Now, what's interesting here is definitely this stellium, these 4 planets that we have in Aries. It's a weak stellium since it's created by the Moon and Mercury as well, that are fast-moving planets. However, we can definitely see this warrior energy here in this chart because Aries is the zodiac sign of the warrior. So this revolution is ignited by all this Aries fire that we can see here. And on top of that, the moon represents in mundane charts people, the peoples in general. So we can literally translate this moon in Aries as angry people fighting, wanting to lead this revolution, right? And why, we may ask? Well, we find here this planet, Mars, sitting on the anaretic degree, meaning the last degree of Gemini, which is a very uncomfortable spot for a planet, especially because Mars has been in Gemini for so long now, 7 months. And history taught us that not all the time, but often, when Mars stays in Gemini for such a long time, it builds up this financial speculation because Gemini is the zodiac sign of the market. And so what happens is that here Mars is about to fall, literally, because, you know, Cancer is the fall of Mars in terms of essential debilities. And so Mars is about to fall in Cancer. So the way that I translate this is that we're going to face the midterm consequences of this financial speculation that has been going on now for 7 months with this transit, and people may get quite angry because of it. So financial reasons, economical reasons, igniting with all this Aries fire, angry people, moon in Aries, activated by, of course, this ingress. Now, moving on, we can take a look here at this chart, which is the astrocartography for this ingress. We have 4 lines where Pluto, at that very moment when Pluto is entering Aquarius, like this red line is pointing out where in the world Pluto is going to be on the ascendant. This yellow line, the descendant. This is the green line is the MC line, and this blue line is the IC. So these lines basically are telling us where in the world Pluto is going to be stronger as it's entering Aquarius. Now, we don't have any city, any big city in particular in the red line, so I checked for Seattle and Washington or Vancouver, Canada, so they're not affected by having Pluto on the ascendant. However, on the MC line in green, we have Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Then we have Caracas, Venezuela, Cochabamba, Bolivia, and Bahia Blanca in Argentina. And so specifically, well, I don't think that in Halifax is going to happen anything in this regard, like in terms of revolution and stuff like that. But definitely Venezuela and Latin America is going to be more concerned with this, more affected by this transit in this regard. As you can see, the descendant line in yellow here crosses Dublin, London, Paris, Rome, and Tripoli in Libya. And so definitely a very unstable place, Libya right now. And we need to check how things are going to unfold in the Mediterranean in this regard, and also how this affects Italy, Rome, and of course also Northern Europe. Now, if we take a look at the ephemeris for Pluto, you can see that Pluto here is moving in this way, is going back and forward. And so Pluto entering Aquarius is not going to be like a one-step process because of this movement. So Pluto is going to move backwards and then turning retrograde, moving backwards, and then turning direct again, is going to basically go back and forth from Aquarius. Now we have this 3 steps process with Pluto entering Aquarius. Now on March 23, Pluto is going to move from Capricorn to Aquarius. Then, after roughly 3 months, Pluto is going to move from Aquarius back to Capricorn on June 11. And this is phase 1. Phase 2, which features the last ingress of Pluto in Capricorn, starts next year, 2024. In January 21, we're going to have the same process, like Pluto moving from Capricorn to Aquarius and back to Capricorn on September 2nd, 2024. And then the third step is that is going to definitely put Pluto in Aquarius for good, for 20 years. So it's going to happen on November 19, 2024, and it's going to last until March 9, 2043, when Pluto is going to enter for the first time into Pisces. Now, Pluto is going to move in the first degree of Aquarius, and this is very, very interesting. So this degree is special because it featured the Jupiter-Saturn Great Conjunction back in winter solstice 2020. So in this picture, as you can see, the 2 planets were almost merging in a single star. In fact, it was happening on Christmas time, and we were referring to that as the Bethlehem star, really. And they were so close. In fact, if we take a look at this picture, this is like a representation, a simulation of a telescope zooming in to the point that we could spot the moons here of the planets, and we can spot them together in the same picture. So they were so close. Now this conjunction is very, very important because it has to do with what we can call this new age of the air element that started back in 2020. On the left, you have the picture of the ingress of Saturn in Aquarius together with Jupiter, and they were sitting on the first degree of Aquarius, right? And as you can see, Pluto back then was still here, and the final degrees of Capricorn. But what we really want to point out here are these dates, because every roughly 200 years, we have this conjunction, this great conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn taking place in zodiac signs of the same element. So as you can see, from 8042 to roughly 81, 2000, these conjunctions, they were taking place in zodiac sign of the Earth element in green. And we just have a little, as you can see, 9080, 9081, this was not the case because this conjunction was taking place for the first time in an air sign, Libra. But with 2020, this was definitely the official beginning of this new sequence of great conjunctions taking place in another element, the air element. So we can say that this age of air started in 2020. And this is going to last until 2219, like almost, again, 200 years, right? Before this conjunction to start happening in the water element. Now, air is the element of the intellect, is the element of our social life, our communication, and in this regard, we can witness to this major shift on a major social level scale. And yes, this ingress, Pluto's ingress in Aquarius, is another step activating this process even more. Now, talking about the major aspects that the generational planets are going to make, in this table you can see a representation of the major aspects from 2023 to 2043, so 20 years. Now, we want to focus our attention here in this period of time going roughly from 2025 to 2028, 2029, since here a major planetary configuration is taking place, of course, featuring Pluto in Aquarius. So let's take a look at that. As you can see in this picture, we have this major planetary configuration, which is called a minor grand trine, because we have a trine made by Pluto in Aquarius and Uranus in Gemini, closed by two sextiles here with Neptune. Now, usually this configuration is very harmonious and it is a very balancing configuration. However, we need to put it into context because, as we said in the last video, we're going to have in 2025 the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. And we know that this has to do with this containing strategy that the US is trying to perpetrate against China, which is like rising as a military actor on the seas, right? And with the war in Europe, in Ukraine, the geopolitical balances, they are all over the place. So we are approaching a sort of geopolitical showdown, which is most likely going to happen between 2025 and 2026. But after that, after this sort of geopolitical showdown, this configuration is going to rebalance the geopolitical order, giving it a new structure, really. And this is what we can say geopolitically about this major transit of Pluto through Aquarius. Now, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please like this video, subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. And please share it with people that may be interested. And see you next time for further deepening about the major transits. Thank you.